Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20 plus years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you and enjoy the video.
In this video we're going to replace the turn signal switch on this 2002 GMC Sierra, same as any Chevy Silverado, Suburban, Tahoe, GMC Yukon. This vehicle does have cruise control, which most do. This is not an overly hard thing to do, but you do have to take a few things apart in order to get to the pieces and parts. Tools you'll need are 7 and 10 millimeter sockets with a ratchet and extension. You'll need T20 and T27 Torx bit with driver, 1/4 inch or appropriate wrench to use on the Torx bit, as you'll see how I use that in the video. Flat blade screwdrivers, both small and regular sizes. A tool to cut the wire ties, which would be a wire cutter or a utility knife. And just one note, my truck did not have the screws that hold the bottom plastic trim on the steering column, so I don't know. Those are, I believe those are T20, but they could be Phillips screws, so you might need a Phillips screwdriver as well. Start by removing your upper trim panel. So you turn the key on, put the vehicle down in drive or 1, bring your tilt wheel down, and then you just pull, sometimes start in the corner or the middle, pull the dash trim panel out and then up. Put it aside, turn the key off, and put the wheel back up. Okay, underneath this panel is 2 7mm screws, one right there next to the brake release, and then one over here closer to where the gas pedal is. As you can see, I have a brake controller on mine, which I've already taken down. Okay, we're going to fast forward here as we remove those 2 7mm bolts from the bottom of that trim panel. Okay, and then once you have those screws out, pull this panel straight forward. As you may have heard, one of the clips just came off. Just push it back on like that. Okay, now your tilt lever just pulls out, and then up underneath, this vehicle's been apart before and somebody didn't put them back, but there's 2, they're either T20 or they're Phillips screws. The one would be there and one would be there, so you would want to remove those 2 screws. Okay, and then provided you remove those screws, basically just kind of push in on your panel. Bring it down like that. And now you're going to want to take your, you don't have to put this all the way back in, just put it in some. Tilt your wheel all the way down. Okay, kind of squeeze the back of your panel here and pull it up. Okay, and then just kind of pull it off to the side and gently work it up and off. Just take our tilt lever, tilt the wheel back up. Now you're going to want to remove this pan, and that's just 4 10mm nuts, 1, 2 on that side, and then 1 and 2 on that side. Hit a little fast forward here as we just use our 10mm socket with ratchet and extension to loosen up and remove those 4 nuts that hold that bottom plate. Okay, so now you can remove that, and now you can see that your harnesses connect in right here. Okay, there's a 7mm bolt right in here. Fast forward a little bit as we loosen that bolt. Okay, so you disconnect this whole assembly. And I'm going to cut these wire ties.
I'll be very careful not to damage any wires that you're going to still use. Then you're going to take these and you just pry up a little bit. There's a little tab holding them right here. Just pry, push forward. Same thing over here. Pry out, push forward out of the block. The cruise control wire goes back and around. You can see there's a little safety, little green safety clip here. Push that out. Okay. And then just disconnect by pushing this tab up and back. And now there's your cruise control lead. Okay, let's take our tilt lever, move our wheel back down. Now there's 2 screws to remove. T27, one here and one right here. Okay, top one's pretty easy. Bottom one, if you turn your wheel correctly, you should be able to get the driver in there.
Okay, you saw me struggle with the driver, and so what I did is I took the bit out of the driver and I'm using a 1/4-inch wrench, so I can now get the bit straight into the screw and just use a 1/4-inch wrench to loosen it up. I'll loosen it up a few turns and then I'll use the driver again and just speed it up here for the rest of taking that Torx screw out.
Now this comes out. Bring it up. Okay. Just one last lead plugged in right here. You need to pry up on a little tab here and pull the lead out. So you can see here, I forced the wires down and now I can grab onto them with my hand. So I have hold of them down there. So I'm going to pull on the wires from down there and then pry up on that tab on top. And once you get that out, it's all out. Okay, so here's my original one. New one from 1A Auto. Not only is it going to control your wipers, high beams, and cruise control correctly, it's also going to look nicer because it's not all worn off and dirty. All the connections, this is the new one, this is the old one. Connectors are all the same. Has the same cruise control connectors and everything. So everything's going to bolt in and plug in just like the original.
Okay, when the harnesses come, the cruise control leads are kind of taped to the harness. So basically all I'm doing here is fast forwarding through, removing that tape, pulling the harnesses apart as far as just those cruise control leads, and then taping them back together.
Okay, so set it up so your this harness comes off of there, and this one comes right out of there. Okay. And this right up in here and connect it. Okay, so we've got that one connected up there, and we're feeding those harnesses up over like that. Okay, so we'll put this on like that, and down, start that top one in. start that one in a little bit.
I'm going to fast forward here as I just tighten up those two T27 screws to hold the assembly on.
So you want to make sure you route this lead up and then over your steering column and then back and around and hook it in right there. Connect these back in. And just put them back. You can only go one way. Okay, now you want to connect in, make sure you go nice and straight in. Use your 8mm wrench here. I know it's working because my flashers were set on and they started blinking. Okay, now you can turn your key on. Okay. Wipers work. Washers work. High works. Turn those off. High beams and low beams. And flashers. Okay, the only thing I can't really test is the cruise control. So I put the wires together and put the shield back around them as best I could. Now I can put the pan back up in place.
And we'll fast forward here as I put that brace or pan back up into place and secure it with the 4 10mm nuts. To keep this moving, we will fast forward here through putting the steering column trim on. You just want to do this carefully. Be aware you need to put a lip into the back of the steering wheel. You need to keep checking just to make sure that it's lined up correctly around the shifter, around the ignition, and around the turn signal. Then you want to make sure you get the shift boot up into place. Then you can move your steering wheel up, put the lower trim on, same thing, make sure it lines up correctly, make sure all the tabs and clips line up between the bottom and top, clip it together, and then just turn your wheel a few times, make sure nothing's interfering with the wheel, move it around a little bit. Now you can put your tilt lever in permanently and just do another check. Then you can put your lower panel on, just clip the bottom, push it in. We'll do the bolts at a later time. And now turn your key on, put your shift lever down, and put that upper instrument panel trim on. And here, last but not least, finish up by putting those 2 7mm bolts back into the bottom of your lower trim panel. And then if you have a brake controller, put that back up into place as well. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.